Hey guys, welcome back. I've been trying to make this video for a few weeks, thinking of ideas. This is the 500 subscriber special, and I came onto just redoing our ERB tier list that I did like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I think. At this point, I'm ranking the new ones that came out and reevaluating my former opinions on the ones that I watched. I watched most of these again, wrote down some notes on what I thought, and see if my opinions have changed and what I think of the newer ones. So yeah, let's get right into this, and hopefully, um, you don't dislike my opinions too much. Let's get into it. Okay, we're starting this off with season one's John Lennon versus Bill O'Reilly. This one here is one that I had completely forgotten because I only watched it once and it was a long, long time ago. I don't think I ever made a reaction video on it. I don't believe so. I may have. You can check the channel to make sure, but I don't think so. Um, it's one of the ones where it's just not very memorable. It's obviously their first one, so it wasn't very good. I'd put it in not good. It's not Don't Make Me Watch again because it's not that bad, but it's definitely not good. Obviously, these are the tiers: bangers, almost perfect, above average, average, not good. Don't make me rewatch. There's only a few that are going to that category. Anyway, the first Hitler versus Darth Vader one, I'm gonna put that in above average. It's pretty good, I would say. It's the second best one of this trilogy. The second one is the worst one of the trilogy, and the third one is the best one. Anyway, next we have Chuck Norris versus Abraham Lincoln. I want to get through these season one ones really quickly because I don't think any of them are that good. This one here is probably above the Bill O'Reilly one, but it's not anywhere up here. Um, this is the first one to go into that didn't make me rewatch again. Not because it's bad or badly written, just the voices give me a headache. So don't make me rewatch again. I don't like this one. This is Palin versus Lady Gaga. Then we have Kim Jong Il versus Hulk Hogan. This one is definitely better than this one, and definitely not a don't make me rewatch, but it goes into not good. Again, I am comparing these in the quality of compared to like compared to newer ones. So like they're not like compared to when they came out. I'm not looking at them in the context for reference. Anyway, um, then we have Justin Bieber versus what's his guy's name again? Versus Beethoven. This one I didn't mind it that much. Beethoven wasn't bad. It was Justin Bieber that I didn't like on this one. So I'm gonna put that one in not good. Actually, is it not? Uh, it's here. It's here. Okay. Then we have the first really good one, I think, one that ages pretty well in the wordplay and the rapping because it's got Zach Sherwin in it, who's just great in general. And I love all the references to like E equals MC squared, all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's fun. So I'm gonna put this one above the Vader versus Hitler. It'll probably be here, and Vader versus Hitler one will probably be somewhere around here at the end. I would assume. This one here, Easter Bunny versus what's his name versus Genghis Khan is a documentary watch just because it's not well made. The the voices are kind of annoying and the raps aren't that great because the rap doesn't even make sense. Like Genghis Khan versus the Easter Bunny doesn't make any sense to me. Napoleon versus Napoleon is definitely an average. It's above all these, but it's not above these. Then you have Billy Mays and bloody Ben Franklin. That one's again in the same vein as Napoleon in quality. I would put it above it, obviously, because it's just better. The wordplay is better. The rapping is better. The beat is better. Um, the death of a salesman line is great. What's the favorite line of that one? It's one of the ones where I remember it pretty fondly. Anyway, it's one of the really, really good ones early on. Again, with this one, these two just stand out in the pack of blandness. Dumbledore versus Gandalf. This one here is again in this vein. It's probably about here. Then you have Dr. Seuss versus Shakespeare, another not very good one, but definitely better than all these ones. Actually, I think the Chuck Norris one is better, just because the Chuck Norris lines are funny. Then you have Mr. T versus what's that guy's name again? Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers. Uh, this one here is great. I love this one. Like the way it ends with the get the frick out of my neighborhood. That's great. The switch of a character like Mr. Rogers, who is really nice, to being a bit badass, is really fun. I like it. I'd say it's probably the best one um, out of the earlier ones. I'm gonna put it here. There. These two here could be interchangeable, but they're both just way better than anything that came before. Um, Christopher Columbus versus Kirk. One that I was looking forward to at the time, because again, I'm a big Star Trek fan, but it wasn't as good as I thought it'd be. Definitely disappointing, and I'm gonna put it in not good. I'm gonna say again, not good. It doesn't mean that it's bad. I don't think not good is bad. It's ones that I would watch, like, but they're not ones that like the only ones that I would say are bad are any in this category. Um. Anyway, I should probably move that one up eventually if I need to because the bell curve isn't really working. Anyway, um, next we have a nice Peter with Epic Louie. The first one not as good as the other one. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it top of. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of average. Bottom of average. Then there's Hitler vs Vader 2. This one is, I think, worse than the first one, but not by much. So it's gonna go right behind it. This one is bad. It's just bad. I don't like the Master Chief one. Missed opportunity here. Not good. Mario Brothers versus the Wright Brothers. Again, average. It's probably about here on the average. I'm actually going to move Ben Franklin up. Then we have Michael Jackson versus Elvis Presley. This one doesn't even need to be talked about. That one's almost perfect. It's one of the ones early on that I think is just a banger. It's only reason it's not in banger is because it's like not as good as some of the newer ones in quality, but it's almost there. Again, I'm pretty sure I put this in top tier last time I made this list. Opinions have changed maybe a little bit, with some of the newer stuff being insanely good. Marilyn Monroe versus Cleopatra. Right, yes, that's it. Yep, cool. This one here is so savage. Again, my critique of it is that the bars are uneven. Even 8 bars is a big problem for me. I think it's makes it feel a little off, but I would still put it above all these ones and probably put it um, above the Billy Mays one right there. Steve Jobs versus Bill Gates. It's again in above average. I would say it's. I'm an IT guy, so I'm a little biased here. My opinions are biased because I like computers. So I'm gonna put it here. Cool. Freddie Mercury versus what's that guy's name? Freddie Mercury and I got notes here about it. This is one of the ones that I had to rewatch, and I've already forgotten it anyway. Frank Sinatra. I rewatched this one like a week ago. I don't like it. I think it's in a not good. Probably about him. Um, then we have Obama versus Romney, another banger, and it's going in. I'm gonna put it in almost perfect, near the end of almost perfect. I think it's just so good. It's an embodiment of the time it came out, and its political resonance is kind of fun. Unlike the future political ones, which I feel like are not as good because of their overly politicness. This one is just fun, and I like that. Next, we have the Doctor versus Doc Brown. We're gonna put that in average. It's top of average. This one here is Clint Eastwood versus Bruce Lee, I believe. I'm gonna put that one in the end of average, probably about here. It's not as bad as any of these ones. Batman versus Sherlock Holmes, another one that I feel like is a missed opportunity. It's not terrible. It's not great. I would put it in average, average about here. Cool. This is Moses versus Santa Claus. I like this one a little bit more because it has Snoop Dogg in it. I'll be honest. It'd probably be somewhere in not good or average. If it didn't have Snoop Dogg in it, I'd put it probably here by just its own merit. But honestly, because it has Snoop Dogg in it, I'm a little biased, and I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, there. That's about it. Cool. Adam and Eve is another interesting one. I like this one a lot more because Jenna Marbles is in it, and Jenna Marbles is great. The rap is not too long. It's one of the shorter ones. It's still fun. Obviously, the gender battle is funny. It's interesting, and I'm gonna put it in top of average. Top of average. I think it's top of average. Again, this one here, big vibes. Key and Peele versus each other is fun. There's two of these battles that I really like. This one, obviously, the nostalgia when I rewatched this one a few days ago. Seeing where Key and Peele are at now, like Keegan Michael Key playing Toad in the Mario movie, and Peele making really decent horror movies. I'd put this nostalgia and how good it is in general, and the savageness of the bars. Even though it's one of the shorter ones, it's going to go above Billy Mays, here in above average. Thomas Edison versus Nikola Tesla, again another banger. It's going to go in the top of above average. It's so good. The references, the historical accuracy. It's a very, very, very good one. This one is Lance Armstrong versus what's the guy's name, buddy? Oh, the guy that used to play a lot of Where's my notes here? Babe Ruth. Okay, I wrote down my notes on this one. Oh yeah, okay. So in this one, I didn't really think it was terrible. I think this one's really funny in the way that it makes fun of Lance Armstrong clearly, and Babe Ruth I think wins this one in this battle. That's what I remember writing down. So yeah, I think this one's a good one. It's got some cool artistic choices with the black and whiteness over Babe Ruth and stuff, because obviously it's an older character. I'm gonna put it, well, person. I mean, I'm gonna put it in the top of the average. Yeah. Skrillex versus Mozart. That one's bad. It's not good. Above the top of not good. It's got some interesting artistic choices with the dubstep later on in the battle and stuff like that, but it's just not. It doesn't hold up with any of these ones. Um, this one is the Rasputin versus Stalin, but it's like the five because everyone comes in a little bit, like Putin and all that stuff. So I think this one's better because of that. I think it's the first time they ever did something like that. So I'm gonna put this one higher up because of its ingenuity, and it's gonna go in. I think. I think the end of Almost Perfect. I think it's good. I think it's really decent. And it holds up pretty well. That's my opinion. Actually, no. I'm gonna put it here because the Alexander the Great one kind of is a successor and is better. So it's got to go above average. Hitler versus Vader 3, the better of all three of them, and it's gonna go up here to signify that it's almost perfect. I really like this one. Then we have Capone versus Blackbeard, another really solid one, and it's again in the vein of stuff. I'm gonna put it here. Here. Cool. Miley Cyrus. I don't like this one. I don't like this one. It's gonna go just because it's production quality. It's gonna go probably bad here, but it's very much not good. I don't like it. The wordplay, the lyrics, everything kind of lets it down a little bit. Not a big fan. We have Bob Ross versus Picasso. This one, banger. The art puns, the art jokes, the artisticness of the video, the effects and stuff, the lyrics, obviously, great. And I'm gonna put this one pretty high. I think it's definitely above average. Is it almost perfect? That's the question. Would I listen to it above this one? Yes. This one? Yes. This one? I don't think so. I think I'd rather listen to that one than that one, and that's how I'm kind of ranking them in the order that I would listen to them personally. Michael Jordan versus Muhammad Ali. It's another Key and Peele one, so it's got to go high up on the list. And I do think it's better than this one, uh, than that one. So I'm gonna put it probably about here. Yeah, there's no bell curve here, unfortunately. Anyway, Donald Trump versus Ebenezer Scrooge. This one gets funnier the more I watch it because of how Donald Trump's character has developed in real life. But I'm still gonna put some down low, probably in the not good category. Then we have, to be honest, I completely forgot about this one. Like this one is the Rick Grimes versus Walter White. Two shows that I really loved back in the day. I don't like Walking Dead that much anymore, but Breaking Bad's a great show. I'm gonna put this one in average, above Babe Ruth and Lance Armstrong because it's better, it's funny. The part where they're reenacting all the stuff from Breaking Bad is just interesting. Goku vs Superman. I think I rated this one quite highly in my last one. I don't remember, but I think less of this one now after rewatching it recently, and I think it's probably at the end of average. It's about here, I would say. I'm gonna move that one down to the top of here. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. I need more. I need more in average. I think. I'm gonna put this top of average, and yeah. Anyway, Edgar Allan Poe versus Stephen Hawking. No, Stephen King. Sorry, Hawking is the guy in the wheelchair that passed away recently, a few years ago. Um, yeah, this one here. I wrote down good atmosphere, good light, like good book-related puns, hard-hitting bars on both sides, evenly balanced. Overall, decent battle. Feels like, um, yeah, feels like Poe won. I wrote down Poe won. I don't know if that was my original opinion, but that's my opinion now that Poe won. But um, I'm gonna put this one in above average. Above average. Yeah. Average. The top of average. It could be here, but I'm gonna put it there. We still got a lot to go through, so we have Bill Nye versus freaking Sir Isaac Newton, which is a good one. Obviously played by Weird Al, so it's got to be high. And the Weird Al's rapping in this is amazing. It's going in almost perfect. I'm sorry, it has to. Obviously, Bill Nye's part is, but like it's got Weird Al Yankovic, and it can't go below almost perfect. Okay. Anyway, this one here is one that I'm not a big fan of. George Washington versus William Wallace. Not a fan of this one at all. I don't think it's bad. If you look at it in hindsight, it's not terrible. I just don't think it's like of the quality of things that are surrounded. So it's going to go about here in average. Um, TMNT versus the artists, which is like Leonardo and all that stuff. Them versus themselves, well, same names. Interesting. I like this one. It's got some cool visual gags. It's got Smosh in it, which is kind of fun, and Rhett and Link, which is really cool. So it's got some star power there. I'm gonna put this one in the tops of average, probably about here. It's pretty good. Actually, no, I'm gonna put it at the bottom of above average. It's above average. This one here, the Ghostbusters versus the Mythbusters. Not a fan. I don't think it's very good. I'd put it at top of not good or the bottom of average. Bottom of average. This one is Romeo and Juliet versus freaking. I always say their names. Um, Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah. Okay. Wrote down notes for this one. It says interesting battle, cool visual gag at the end, with both parties, with with Romeo and Juliet killing, committing seppuku, which is what I wrote down, and Bonnie and Clyde celebrating, then getting shot is funny. I think it's an interesting battle overall. Kind of a letdown. I'd put it in the bottom of average, about here. Cool. Thor versus Zeus sounds great. It's really good. They were one of the first Lego ones, if not the first Lego one. I think it's really good, and I'd put it in almost perfect. Almost perfect. And actually, I'm thinking about it. Which ones are going to go into bangers? Because I already know which ones I'm putting in bangers. I'd put this in. I'd put this at the bottom of bangers. The bottom of bangers. It's just so good, and obviously the hard work of putting Legos in that situation is just so interesting. I think. Anyway, next up we have. So I've got to close all the free advertisements. Uh, this is Jack the Ripper versus Hannibal Lecter. Another interesting one though where the characters really match, and I think it's quite good. I wrote down that the battle feels very one-sided towards Lecter, so that's a downside for it. But overall, pretty decent. Dan Bull does really well as Jack the Ripper. Yeah, so I think it's quite okay. I'm gonna put it in the highs of average, probably about here. Because I'd rather listen to it over Adam versus Eve. Oprah versus Ellen. This one here has way more context after Ellen's whole controversy. I think it's more enjoyable now. So I'm gonna put this one in here. Yeah. Albert Hitchcock versus Steven Spielberg. Wrote down. This is another one of the 5 ones where people come in. Think. I wrote down Kubrick's verse feels lackluster but interesting. Like Quentin Tarantino's verse. The ending with what's his name again? Uh, Michael Bay coming in. I wrote down that I think that's interesting, but also kind of like quite extended compared to everyone else's verses. But I guess that's kind of the point because they're all making fun of him throughout the battle. It's got some cool like nuance, and the writing is interesting. I put it pretty high, so we're gonna put that one up here. Cool. Um, this one here is bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's very good. I'd say it's above this one, but it's just not one of those interesting ones. It's got Ren Link in it, which I feel like is up points, but it's just not fun. I think it's kind of annoying with the voices and stuff, but obviously overall it's not as bad as most of these. I think I might move this one down here and this one down here into doing watch again because I don't like them that much. Okay, I don't like them at all actually. These are ones that I'll probably never watch ever again. This one here is here. It feels like this one should have been made way, way earlier. This one feels like it's more season 2 quality, not of the point where it came out level of quality. Does that make sense? Anyway, Terminator versus Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator versus RoboCop, another one that feels like it should have came out a few seasons before this one, but it's of a higher quality than most of these, so I'd put it about here. Now, Western philosophy versus Eastern philosophy. This is a really good one. I think it's interesting. I like Nietzsche's verse, which is the best part of it. I feel like, and I'd put put it up here because of that Nietzsche verse. It's probably mid-average here, probably about here. Yeah. Zulu versus Caesar. One that I feel like is interesting. I like the video more than I like the rap, which means it's going to lose points because the video should be secondary to the actual lyrics. So I'm gonna put this one at top of not good, bottom of average, probably above these ones though, probably about here. Yeah, there. It's definitely better quality than any of these. Um, Stan Lee versus um, Jim Henson. Jim Henson. This one here I wrote down. Stan Lee, rest in peace. Great. Comic book references and references to being owned by Disney. Both of them being owned by Disney, I guess, because Marvel's owned by Disney. Jim Henson stuff is interesting. Using the puppets as puns. Overall, decent battle. Think Stanley won. Yes, I agree. Uh, I'd put this one in the bottom of above average, for sure. Now here we go, the one that I don't like. Not because it's bad, but because it was such a missed opportunity. Boba Fett versus Deadpool. One of those ones where, what the hell is the point of this battle? Because Deadpool has so many comics and movies and stuff, and games you can make fun of, and Boba Fett's got like, well, now he's got more, but if you're looking at it like back then, he had like 5 minutes of screen time and a few things in like side lore that they didn't even mention in this battle. I feel like this battle is just like what so one sided it can't even be considered a battle. So I'm gonna put this one like I love Deadpool, so I made it so disappointing for me. It goes in like average, probably about here or here. I just don't like it. I think it's a missed opportunity as much as possible. Um, Tolkien versus Martin, another one that I think Tolkien absolutely destroys Martin in this. I love the Lord of the Rings references. The references to how much of a shadow, that Tolkien casts over Martin and over the fantasy genre in general. It's a good battle overall. I think it's probably up here in these top tiers. I'd probably put it above this one. No, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna move this one up. I think that one moves up for sure. Yeah, that seems about right. Gordon Ramsay, Julie Child. Nothing needs to be said about this one. It is pretty decent. It's up here with these ones. Um, Jefferson. This is Jefferson. Jefferson. Let me see. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson versus Frederick Douglass. Wrote down the racial undertone and theme of this battle is interesting, though the battle feels one-sided, with Jefferson spending most of his time apologizing. Therefore, the battle is kind of redundant. Uh, Again, it makes sense for racial uh, reasons, but it just makes the battle feel a little uninteresting. But overall, decent enough, and Douglas destroys his verses. That's what I wrote down, and I think that's true. So I'm going to put this one up here. Up here. Cool. It's a good one overall. I just think it could be better if Jefferson actually had some extra bars, but I see why they didn't do that. They didn't want to get too political, I guess, but whatever. Um, Bond versus Austin Powers, one of my early favorites. I love it. I think it's interesting. I think again, it's very one-sided towards Bond. I think it's on purpose because Bond is more of a serious character. The jump in of Connery and stuff at the end is interesting. I think overall it's not bad. I'm gonna put it in up here, about here. I think that's about where I should go. It's above all these in quality and in the bars. Bond destroys his verses and stuff. This one is one of the ones where I think it's definitely underwhelming. Bruce Jenner versus Bruce Banner versus Bruce Jenner. So it's really hard to say. I feel like it's again political reasons is why this is bad. It feels like they didn't want to insult Bruce Jenner that much for political reasons, and I feel like they held back, which is one of the things that's a critique of a few of these later ERBs when it does politics, and I think it hurts battle more than it helps it, and I'm gonna put it in the lower parts of average, probably about here. Uh, yeah, here. This one here, banger. It's great. Zach Sherwood destroys his versus Alexander the Great. The characters coming in trying to kill Ivan the Terrible is awesome, and then ending with Catherine the Great is just a great ending. Russian v Russian, I really like it. It's a deep, very good battle. It's probably even above this one, I would say. Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. I would say after the election where Trump won, it was better. After Trump losing to Biden, it's probably worse. And I'd put it in the lower parts of above average, about here. Again, it's one of the political ones where I think it's pretty decent. It's like on the same vein as Mitt Romney, But when we get to the new political one, which is right here, my opinions are going to change. Anyway, uh, Ash Ketchum versus the father of evolution. So, should be interesting, right? Charles Darwin should be interesting. I went. It's one of the first ones I react to. I think it's like second or third on my channel. And when I react, I think I've I don't think I've ever done a reaction to it, but I think it's really good. I watched it about 3 or 4 days ago, I think. The Ash puns are funny. I think Darwin clearly wins this one. Just with the last bar by itself, he wins. But there's some stuff I learned this about Darwin that I didn't think I'd ever learn. So it's very interesting. One of the more educational ones, I think, personally. And I'd put this one pretty high. I'd say probably the top of average. Above average, I mean, probably about here. Would I watch it over Gordon Ramsay, Julia Child, and Rasputin one? Yes, I would. For sure. For sure. Uh, Stevie Wonder versus Wonder Woman. Um, eh, I think the best line in this whole thing is the line uh, about like the piano keys and being DC is something below me, whatever it's called. That line, right? Is what one bar below me or whatever. That's interesting because it's like a musical line. That's the best part of this whole battle, and the wordplay with that alone brings it up quite a bit for me. Um, I think I think I wrote down notes for this one. Let me try and find them. Here we go. Yeah, I mentioned the DC line. I think it was funny. The references to earlier Wonder Woman comics. Um, her reliance on a man in the first one is funny, even though her whole character is about not being reliant on men, which is interesting. Um, Stevie Wonder won, in my opinion. Yeah, cool. One Superwoman's performance as Wonder Woman is pretty decent. Um, yeah, okay. Lily Singh, I think her name is Lily Singh. Yeah, Lily Singh. So I'm gonna put this one in. I think it goes to the bottom of above average. I think that's about it. Yeah, cool. Uh, this one here, Gretzky versus Tony Hawk. That one's probably about here. It's one of the best ones. I think it's got some great wordplay. I think it is a little one-sided, which is why it's not in banger. I feel like it's very one-sided towards Gretzky, but it's kind of hard not to be when Gretzky is such a pinnacle of his sport. You know what I mean? And Tony Hawk used to be a pinnacle of his sport, but not much anymore, obviously. Um, Churchill versus Theodore Roosevelt is another real banger, and that's going to go up in banger. It's going to go in banger. It's probably going to go about here. It's a banger. These ones here are borderline perfect. I can't find much critique about them overall. This one here is why this one's at the bottom of these is because I have slight critiques, but not enough to put it below any of these. I actually might move this one up and move that one down. Now that I'm thinking about it, that one is better than that one. Now that I think about it. Anyway, um, the Lloyd versus Peter 2. I'm gonna put this one. Hmm. I think it shows their talents as rappers in a really cool way. So I'm gonna put it at the top of average, about here. I think that's where it goes. And then they returned after like a few, like a little bit of a break, with uh, with Elon Musk versus um, Lizard Man. So that one's an interesting one. Mark Zuckerberg at the Lizard Man. What did I write down about this one? Let me read it real quick. Uh, nice Peter's portrayal of Zuckerberg is interesting and has a cool and not blinking for the entire video effect, kind of creepy on rewatch when you notice it. Elon Musk's portrayal by Epic Lloyd is also interesting. Um, doesn't really get the mannerisms as much as Zuckerberg, played by by Peter. So it's not as a cool comparison, but still interesting. The wordplay and the lines are interesting, well written. A clear jump in quality from their older battles. Clearly, a the beginning of the new era of ERB. Great. Okay, yeah, so that's my review. If you want like more detailed reviews, I think it's up here for sure. Probably even here. Here, it's again. This is a new level of quality. This is a new ones where they're just like spitting out banger after banger. Another good one, Wolverine versus Freddy Krueger. It's up here. It's probably even up here. Che Guevara versus that what's his name? The anonymous guy. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me try and find the names of the rest of them. I'm trying to find my notes on the rest of these new ones. Um, the right notes. Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes is the guy's name. Okay. Interesting battle. Kind of short. Um, feels weighed towards Fawkes for some reason. Though Guevara gets some good lines in. Pretty much mentioning how Fawkes' plan fails and all that stuff. Yeah, overall decent. Yeah, overall decent. I think that's a good representation of this. It's pretty good. The Guy Fawkes parts are really good. The visual gag at them where he blows up everything, which is a reference to him blowing up the bridge or trying to blow up the bridge, is very interesting. So I'm gonna put this one at probably higher in average, above average. Probably it's definitely up here somewhere. I would say here. Yeah, for sure. It's pretty good. Burger King versus McDonald's. This is a good one. Um, this one is just really interesting. Wendy comes in at the end, which I think is funny. Not really good for me because I'm an Australian. We don't have Wendy's, so I have no idea why Wendy's is there. Is it like really big in America? I assume. But I'm gonna put this one at the top of average, above average, about there. Cool. We have the next one, which is the Battle of the Comedians, is what I wrote down here, but it's meant to be George Carlin versus Richard Pryor, but it ends up being just a bunch of comedians coming in, and the female one that comes in midway through is the one that wins it, in my opinion, after rewatching it a few times. Again, it's one of the I think it's one of the worst five character ones. Not the worst one, but it's definitely not the best one. I'd say it's better than the Western versus Thing Philosophy one. Definitely better, but it's worse than the Rasputin one. So I'm gonna put it about here. I think yeah, there. That seems about right. Now this one here, but wait, this one. It's one of my favorites. But I'm gonna try and be as unbiased on this one as possible because it's the first one I ever reacted to on my channel, so it's got some nostalgia for me because I'm Australian also. Steve Irwin, kind of a hero over here. I'm gonna put it. I want to put it in bangers, but there is some issues with it that I have in like that. Some of the lines feel like a lot of fluff, and it feels a little draggy because they don't have much information on some of the things. I like the wordplay. The Australian wordplay is really interesting. Obviously, being Australian, so I understand a lot of it. I think it's cool. But I think it's more of an almost perfect, probably the end of almost perfect, above average. It could be down here too. Um, again, if I was biased, I'd put it up here, but it's not. This one here, I think, is Mother Teresa versus um, bloody, what's his name? Sigmund, Sigmund Freud. This one, I think, is really cool. The juxtaposition of the characters. Obviously, Mother Teresa being, of Christian or Catholic, one of the religious faiths, and Freud being the creator of the mom sex complex or whatever it's called, being like a very sexual doctor of sorts. I think it's interesting and it's really cool. I think the rapping quality is good, the wordplay is good. I think it's overall a decent battle. I think it's definitely up here somewhere. That's one thing I noticed. All their battles are pretty much above average. Only a few of them fall in quality, and it's a lot of the season one and season two shit. Because again, the quality wasn't at a point where they were making the best stuff, but it was still okay. I would say this is here above this one, but not above this one. Okay, so next we have Vlad the Impaler vs Count Dracula. This one I didn't really have any meaningful takes about it. I said was pretty good. Feels a little bland for the quality that they have at this point. Um, should have done more research about the characters, but seemed overall okay. Uh, Probably about a C. So I'd put it in average, I guess, in my take. So about here. It's one of the lower quality ones apparently in my own writing. Next up is oh another banger. Okay, this is another banger. It's just good. It's really good. Both characters have really good verses. Both characters have really good hits. Um, Joker does really well. The end with Pennywise flips the whole script. A lot of references that I didn't get the first time around, but on rewatches is so great. Every time I listen to it, I catch a new line or new interesting fact. It's such a good one. It's probably even up here. It's great. The Thanos versus Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's verse in this is cool. His voice is cool. The effect they put on his voice is cool because it's accurate to his actual recordings we have of him. Thanos is the thing that drags better down. It's a little cringy with the Fortnite and Thanos copter references. Underplays Thanos a little bit. I'd probably put this one about here. It's not that good. Okay, here we go. Trump versus Biden. In quality and writing, it's pretty good. It's very clearly biased towards the party they like. When I made the video on this, I got super backlash, so it's kind of hard to not like rate it badly because of that. Because I'm Australian, apparently I can't react to anything that comes from American politics, which I think is silly. But anyway, this one is going to go in top of average just for its quality. Probably about here. Next up is Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker. Another great one. Again, using Lego. I think it's one of the best, especially because of the Lego. It's going to go in bangers. Uh, in the bottom of bangers, or the top of. I think this one's better than that one, so that one's going to go here, and that one's going to go there. Cool. I don't want to put any more than 5 or 6 in bangers. This one, Richard Lionheart. It's about. I said back in the day when I made my previous review that it was a B, and I think I stick about there. It's about a B, which is about here. It's about here, yeah, for sure. It's one of the ones that's like really high quality and really good when you listen to it, but it kind of blends in with ones around it because ones around it are so much better. Masa Musa versus everyone's favorite guy in the world, Jeff Bezos. This one's going to go in bangers. It has to go in bangers. You know what I mean? It's got everyone's favorite reaction person on YouTube, Screwface John. You know, and it's got Epic Lloyd. It's a banger. Okay, it's a banger. There's no question it's a banger. It's probably even up here. It's just a banger. This one here, top of almost perfect. It's great. The characters, references, 3 of my favorite action franchises ever. Just great. Whenever I listen to this one again, I'm just like, man, I love Zach Showen's impression of John Wick. It is just so on point. It's a great battle. It's almost perfect. And then we have this one, the newest one. Um, yeah, Indiana Jones versus what's his name? The chick from Tomb Raider. Again, she always escapes my thing. I rewatched this one like 2 weeks ago. I only did my reaction to it like a month or so ago, a few months ago maybe. I think it's really pretty good. My opinion on it has changed since I watched it. I think when I watched it originally, I said Indiana Jones is one, but after rewatching it, I think it's definitely towards Tomb Raider, like the character that plays Tomb Raider. What's her name? I gotta look it up. I'm just having a brain fart right now. Um, what the hell is her name? Lara Croft. Okay, Lara Croft. Yeah. So this one I think Lara Croft wins, and my opinion has changed on it, and I think it's a lot better than I first appreciated it for being, and I think it goes in the bottom of almost perfect. So that's my tier list. I think that's it. Yeah, that's the tier list. Let me guys know what you think. If your opinions are different than mine, I might adjust some things. I don't think this is the best one I've ever made. I think it probably goes about here. Um, I think this is pretty accurate to where it should be. That one seems pretty accurate. Yeah. Again, these tiers are about where they are. There might be some interchanging on the actual tier where they are on that tier, but this seems about it. These four I will never watch again in my entire life, and if I have to get paid probably a lot of money to do so. They just make me feel like I want to jump out my window, which is not good. The rest are great, just pretty good. The worst quality being this one, and this one is not that bad. So, you know, and if you're wondering, the one that the Henry VIII one that got cancelled that they released a few years ago on their second channel, if I had to rank that one, it'd probably be in mid-average. It's definitely not below or above average. Let me know what you think. If you agree with my opinions or disagree, let me know. Probably most of you disagree. And let me know which ones you think are bangers and which ones you think are do not make me watch again in the comments down below. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for 500 subs. I really appreciate it. Now we're on the road to 1,000. I have a really cool idea of what to do for 1,000 subscribers for a video. I couldn't do it this time because I haven't got the money to do so, or the time because it's not my full time thing. It's a side hobby. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.